Hey guys, welcome back to the SU Campus Rec YouTube channel. I'd like to thank everyone who've been tuning into the videos across the semester. So for today, we're just doing our last full body dynamic warm-up and static cool-down for flexibility and mobility. So for this first exercise, we're just doing chest flies for 10 reps. Just make sure when we're doing this that we're kind of squeezing in that middle position for about a second. So next thing we're going into is 10 reps of scapular squeezes. This is to get blood flowing to the back and generally kind of warm up the shoulders as well. So as I said earlier, this will be our last video for the semester. So again, thank you everyone who tuned in for the videos. And yeah, so moving on from scapular squeeze, then we're going to go into arm circles. In this case, we're doing 15 seconds forward, going from small to large, and then 15 seconds reverse, again going small to large. So these is making sure that again it's a controlled movement as we're going through. We don't want our arms to be kind of haphazardly flailing about. It's having some control over the shoulders will definitely make the dynamic exercise a bit more impactful. So moving on from there, we're actually going to go into just 8 reps of body weight squats, making sure that our feet are in whatever is a comfortable position for you, toes pointed slightly outward, and then just going down, seeing if we can't break at least 90 degrees. Make sure also we're engaging the core. So next thing here is going to be rotating toe touches. So starting off, I'm just going, in this case, right hand to left foot. This will help with not only getting some mobility in the spine and hips, but also activating a bit of the hamstrings as well and getting some blood flowing to those as well. Alright, we're then going to go into gate openers. So in this case, I'm starting with my right leg. I'm first going to do 5 reps, swinging my leg outward, bringing my knee over my hip as I'm doing it, and then I'm going to do 5 reps going out to in, again making sure that I'm trying to get my knee over top of my hip. It'll definitely help with just generally working on some hip mobility and also activating the hip abductors and adductors, along with just the general kind of groin and even your glute muscles as well. So make sure also when we're doing this, kind of how we did it with the arm circles, we're controlling the movement. We're not kind of just haphazardly going through the movement. It's controlling it, making sure that we're breathing very deeply as you would for the conditioning phase, or cool down phase rather. So going into said conditioning phase, in this case the flexibility portion, we're first going to start off with a behind the back chest stretch. This variation, as you might have noticed, I'm using my hands to ride up my back as high as they can, and after that I'm just pulling my shoulder blades together and holding my hands in that position. You'll definitely feel a stretch on the outer pec, along with right into the front delts as well. So next we're doing an overhead tricep stretch. In this case, I'm not doing with a band this week. It's just going to be the arm by itself. So in this case, I have my left arm pushing down my right elbow, and at the same time I'm trying to keep my neck in a neutral position to kind of get that stretch in on the tricep and shoulders a bit better. So with all these stretches, I've always said for all these sessions we're doing for about 30 seconds. If you want to, you can go a bit longer, up to about a minute. And again, holding these to the point of mild discomfort, not pain. It should be kind of a relaxing exercise, not something you should be really trying to break a sweat with. So, next thing we're going to do is going to be just that bent over lat stretch. So for this one, I'm actually going to demonstrate both the double, both arm, and then also a single arm variation of this. The single arm variation of this, you'll definitely feel this a lot more into your rear delts as well, versus not only just kind of the lats as you might feel with the double arm variation. So again, it's the same position. We're flexing at our hips and also in this case bending at our knees because my desk isn't that tall. So, and then just kind of pressing our weight through our rear delts to stretch out the lats. So next stretch here is going to be a standing quad stretch with, in this case, a band. Later on I will be showing a quick variation of how to do it with a towel. So again, with this, the band is doing a lot of the work here. The quad is just kind of more passively in the stretch. And you kind of want that. You want the quad to be as relaxed as it can and let the band do the work for you. So, and with this, I'm also just trying to pull my heel up to my butt like you would for any other standing quad stretch. Alright, speaking of the towel variation, I'll demonstrate this one very quickly. I definitely say with this one, it's harder for you to use something to hold on to. You kind of do need both hands to pull the towel up versus just using a band. So I definitely say if you need to work on stability, and you also want to use something that has a bit of resistance to it, the towel can be very useful for that stretch. Moving into a angled toe touch. In this case, I have my left leg, my left foot rather, in about a 45-degree angle, kind of pressing my heel into the ground, and I'm just reaching down as I would for just any kind of toe touch to stretch out the hamstrings. Along with this one though, you'll also definitely feel it into your calves as well. So definitely safe for this one too. It's making sure you're not exactly locking out the knee. It's more keeping a very soft knee as you're going through, which seems weird, but general discomfort can arise if you lock out your knee during that stretch. So next one here is going to just be a forward lunge with an opposite elevated arm. So in this case, I have my right leg forward and I have my left arm up. You'll definitely feel this in the front leg right along the hip flexors along with a bit of the glutes, while in the back leg, you'll definitely feel it right into that quad region and even a bit up into your groin as well. Making sure also, if you want to, as you might notice here, I'm having my non-elevated arm kind of just resting on my leg, on my forward leg. That can just generally help with comfort with this stretch. If you want to get it in a bit deeper, so to speak, if you can have your bottom arm planted into the ground to generally help with depth of the stretch. So this next one's actually going to be a kneeling hamstring stretch. It's kind of a variation on the sprinter stretch. In this case, when I'm doing it, I have my left leg forward and I'm kind of driving my hip downward to definitely feel a stretch into my hamstrings, and you'll even feel into your calves as well. So this next one's going to just be that groin stretch that I showed across the past few weeks. With this one, it's making sure you have one leg out, fully extended out your side. The other leg is either right in line with your hips, if not slightly outside of it, as you might notice here. And then you're just kind of letting your body weight kind of press through your hip to kind of stretch out the groin region. Alright, so next stretch that we're going into is going to be a thread the needle. This one again, it's targeted towards the back. Some of you will definitely feel this into your delts, into your lats, even a bit into your low back as well. But making sure when we're doing this, you don't want to be kind of like forcing yourself to fully kind of press yourself into the ground. Instead, you kind of want to let the arm kind of rotate out as far as it will. Once you're at that position, it's then you kind of sink a bit deeper into the stretch. That way you can feel it a bit more in your rear delts. So. So staying in that kneeling position, we're then going to go into puppy pose. In this case, again, similar to child's pose, where I'm trying to sit back onto my heels as I'm doing this. And you might notice here when I'm trying to do it, I'm alternating my hands, so I have my thumbs pointing upward versus my hands flat on the ground. You feel a slight difference in the stretch, one versus the other. It's more just up to preference, and I was generally showing you how to do it. So anyway, this next stretch is going to be that piriformis stretch. This will help with not only stretching out the glutes, hips, and low back as you're doing it. So again, it's kind of similar to a crossbody hip stretch or figure four. However, in this case, we're kind of pulling, in this case, I'm pulling my left knee at an angle to my right side, also trying to get that to my chest as well. So you'll definitely feel this into your glutes, into your hips, and that's more dependent on how far you're kind of allowing the stretch to go and how far you're pulling your knee across your body will determine kind of how effective the stretch is. So the second to last stretch that we're going to do today is going to be just a cross-body hip stretch. So in this case, it's making sure when we're doing this, our leg is coming across the body, but we're also making sure that our shoulder blades are staying planted, in this case, are in contact with the ground. You want to try and avoid, especially with the cross-body hip stretches, that you don't kind of let your shoulder blades come up off the ground or hovering, because it kind of loses the effectiveness of the stretch. So it's kind of, once you kind of are in this position here, kind of just let gravity and your own body weight kind of allow the stretch to go as deep as it will go. And once you start noticing that your shoulder blade is coming off the ground, it's kind of roll back down till you're in contact, and then kind of hold the stretch there. Alright, so the last stretch for today's session is just going to be a knee to chest stretch. So with this stretch, you'll definitely feel it into your hip flexors, your glutes, and also a bit into your outer hips. So again, it's just trying to pull our knee up to our chest. In this case, also making sure that that relaxed leg is kind of against the ground. That's more or less just for general stability. So once we go from there, though, just another variation of this. So I just wanted to thank everyone for sticking through with us. Not only me, but also Luke, the intern, and also all the other Goo Fitness class instructors that have been putting up content on the channel. I just want to thank you for assisting with us, and yeah, have a good winter break, and bye.